Hey everyone, Bryan Zane here with your TLC 2018 review. I'm going to dive right into the action here because this show felt every bit of those 12 matches across 4.5 or 5-ish hours. So let's just get right into it. Starting off with the Cruiserweight Championship match in the kickoff. Buddy Murphy defending against Cedric Alexander, a rematch from their last title match at Super Showdown. This match has a lot of the high impact, high flying, striking stuff you've come to expect from the Cruiserweights. I especially love seeing Cedric Alexander in action. I know, I'm a bad fan. I don't watch 205 Live that much, so I don't get enough of a chance to see Cedric in action. So I'm always enjoying what I see on the pay-per-views when he's there. Near the end of the match, Cedric with a Death Valley driver on the apron, follows it up with a lumbar check, but Buddy gets his foot on the ropes. Buddy then pulls Cedric face first into the turnbuckle, hits him with Murphy's Law to retain the championship. I give this one 2.5 stars. Like I said, it's this, if you're familiar with the style that these guys in 205 Live do, then it's just, more of that essentially. It's a good way to get the crowd pumped up. And for a crowd that wasn't nearly full yet in the SAP Center, they were very hyped and amped by what they saw in this match. The final pre-show match is a ladder match with a guitar above the ring as Elias takes on Bobby Lashley. I believe they changed the rules this match between last week and Sunday because I thought they originally said that if you take down the guitar, you can use it as a weapon, but now they said on Sunday, if you take the guitar down, you just win automatically. Elias is in the ring to begin and he wants to play some music. He gets interrupted by Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley. Lio cuts a little promo. God, I remember there was a time when Lio Rush was really entertaining and interesting as Bobby Lashley's mouthpiece. Where's the time gone? What happened to that Lio Rush I used to know? There's some good ladder play here by both guys. At one point, Lashley dumps the ladder off his shoulder onto Elias like it was doing his signature move to the ladder itself. He suplexes Elias into a ladder in the corner and it bends a little bit there. Elias makes a comeback. He powerbombs Lashley into a ladder bridge in the corner. He climbs the ladder. Lio Rush comes up to meet him and Elias just shoves Lio off. I'm surprised Lio didn't no-sell it because, he's taken worse from the top of a ladder and he completely no-sold it. So what's stopping him here? Elias grabs the guitar, wins the match, and he wants to attack, Lashley post-match, but Lashley and Lio double team him. A nice frog splash by Lio Rush onto Elias, by the way. Lashley smashes the guitar over Elias's back, and that's that. I'm going to give this one 1.5 stars. It's a pretty pedestrian ladder match. Pretty disappointing in the grand scheme of things. There are a couple of fun spots, but beyond those, not much to this, which is disappointing because for all the times these guys have fought over the last several months, you'd think there'd be some more chemistry and more heat to it. Like, I love Elias and I like heel Bobby Lashley, but I absolutely hate this feud and I want to end. The show officially begins with the Mixed Match Challenge Finals as R-Truth and Carmella take on Alicia, Jinder Mahal, and Alicia Fox, the only two teams who from the very beginning stayed entirely intact because no one was taken off TV with injuries. R-Truth and Carmella rocking the San Jose Sharks colors there in San Jose. The winners get the number 30 spots in their respective Rumble matches and apparently an all-expense paid vacation. We get a dance break that was interrupted by the Singh brothers, which I thought was pretty entertaining. Truth ejects them and they take the what I think are the safest bumps they've taken, the Singh brothers have, what feels like in weeks. Somewhat sloppy looking stuff at the end between Carmella and Alicia. Carmella catches her in the code of silence. Alicia taps out to win the match. So Carmella wins the match for her team. I give it 1.5 stars. Nothing spectacular about this match. One thing I wish they did here, and they probably didn't have time for it, or maybe it's just a matter of like how much they want to invest in it, but I think it would have been cool to see a little hype package kind of recapping the Mixed Match Challenge to talk about the highs and the lows, like all the teams who looked good and then they kind of faltered, and like how these two teams got there in the finals. That would have been nice to see. So anyway, R-Truth and Carmella are now number 30 in the men's and women's Rumbles matches. I was kind of surprised about that. Traditionally, I think the number 30 spot is better suited for a heel because they're kind of like, I'm going to sneak in and get the final spot or whatever. But that's just me. Wacky R-Truth, that comic relief. He's chosen the destination of their paid vacation is the cultural epicenter, his words, not mine, of WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut, and Carmella is all bummed out. I do look forward to seeing these two on a series of hilarious pre-taped segments where they tour the HQ of the company. That'd be pretty funny. Triple Threat threat match for the Smackdown tag titles as the Bar defend against the New Day and the Usos. The big story for the first half of this match is that the Usos are pretty much cut off from the action because only 2 people are allowed in the ring at any given time. The Usos are never tagged in. At one point, Sheamus hits them off the corner and they just die for several minutes. We get a couple blind tags throughout the course of the match, one by the Usos, another by Cesaro onto Kofi Kingston. We get the uppercuts, we get the trust fall, we get the super kicks, we get the swing, we get the elbow off the top rope. We get all the big hits by these teams. In the end, Sheamus hits the bro kick onto Xavier Woods as he gets distracted by Cesaro for a quick second, and the Bar retain the championships. I'm going to give this match 3 stars out of 4. This match was as good as you can expect from these guys. These 3 teams are kind of like the best part of the tag team division across both shows, and they don't disappoint. I'm glad the Bar retained because I can go a while longer without seeing the New Day or the Usos as tag team champions. Thank you very much. Up next, a TLC match that's scheduled between Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman, but the big question mark over the last couple of weeks has been, will Strowman be able to compete? Because if he can't, Corbin would win by forfeit and become the GM, the permanent GM as a result. But if Strowman wins, not only does he earn a Universal title shot against Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, but Corbin is out of power. There's a lot to take in the build for this matchup here. As Corbin makes his way to the ring, Michael Cole's great line, "This man has ruined Monday Night Raw." They are laying this on super thick for Baron Corbin as the Vince McMahon proxy, you might say. I am getting sick, however, of Graves and Renee Young being so bickering and argumentative. Like, every discussion inevitably turns to some argument point. It inevitably turns to something like Baron Corbin, and it's just like yay boo all the time between the two of them, and it's ridiculous. It distracts from what I'm trying to see going on. Heath Slater's our referee. He's the man who's in Baron Corbin's pocket still. He does the 10 count, but at the count of 7, Braun Strowman shows up in a sling, and he says, "I can have people help me to win this match," which is a weird thing to say for a babyface, but okay. Out come Apollo Crews, Ruble, Finn Balor, who Michael Cole described as the rebel to Corbin's totalitarian regime. Like, really, him? They're all brandishing chairs. Then Heath Slater takes his referee shirt off. He clocks Corbin, and the beatdown begins. Everyone takes their turns, takes their shots at Baron Corbin. Corbin runs away, and out comes Kurt Angle, and he grabs a chair. He beats up Baron Corbin with it, and the beatdown resumes. Angle slam, coup de grace. Slater puts the referee shirt back on. Strowman with a foot on Corbin's chest, and Slater makes the 3 count. Here is your conquering hero babyface, Braun Strowman, battling the odds with the help of all of his friends. I give this match 1 star to 4. Like I said when I reviewed the Austin Bischoff match from No Way Out 2003, go check that out. I posted it this past Saturday. It wasn't much of a match, but it was quite the spectacle, I will say. It's justified because how much of a jerk Corbin's been to the whole roster, and everyone's getting their comeuppance. Corbin, I should say, is getting his comeuppance. Everyone's getting their revenge. So, it does feel weird, though, to see like this badass monster have everyone fight his battle for him in this match. I hope he's cleared to fight at the Rumble against Lesnar. Otherwise, I think it's going to be disappointing either way. I don't think he's winning the Rumble. But the Heath Slater thing is so entertaining because, literally, this is a storyline that you could have built this up for months before having a blow-off. But the blow-off with Heath Slater beating up Baron Corbin took place after 2 weeks. Tables match up next as Natalya takes on Ruby Riott, who's accompanied by Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan, and Jim the Table Neidhart. He is the table, and he is in attendance for this match here. Good Lord, the bump that Liv Morgan took off the apron in through the table on the floor was brutal. I did not see that one coming. That was just crazy to see her take a bump like that. Kudos to her for taking a bump that big. Natalya calls Ruby a bitch and slaps her. She then, Natalya, I should say, body slams Sarah Logan through another table, so now the other rioters are disposed of, and it's just one-on-one. Natalya has Ruby in the sharpshooter, and this is a very creative escape. I give them credit for doing this. I never would have thought of it. The Jim the Table Neidhart's in the corner. Ruby pushes the bottom of it, which causes the table to fall down timber style onto the back of Natalya's head, knocks her unconscious for a couple of minutes, but she does get back up. She hits Ruby with an electric chair drop. She pulls out a table with Ruby's picture on it now. Ooh, the tables have turned, you might say. She also then puts on her dad, Jim Neidhart's jacket. She's imbued with the power of the anvil. They fight some more. Natalya powerbombs Ruby through the table, and she puts on the sunglasses for good measure. And that's that. I give this one 2.5 stars out of 4. This is a surprisingly good battle between the two. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, but I think that this match, like the story that was also told with the Riott Squad members and how they got disposed of, I thought was a great bit as well. God, that bump Liv Morgan took. All the kudos in the world for Liv Morgan there, and just the story overall I think was great. Like I said in my predictions video, that this is a story that was backfilled. Like they start off really on this really high note that came from out of nowhere, because like the whole introduction of the spirit of Jim Neidhart and these sunglasses, that just kind of, you know, it was like it ramped up immediately, and then they had to backfill the story from there. And I think they did a good job of that. I think this was a satisfying conclusion to that. So yeah, it was very good stuff. Drew McIntyre takes on Finn Balor here in one of the few non-stipulation, non-caveat kind of matches going on this show. It is a good match though. Drew's tossing Finn around like nobody's business. Finn is able to match with Drew's intensity throughout, so that's great to see. Finn shows some fire, but it's snuffed out on the outside. As the referee is distracted, out comes Dolph Ziggler, former partner of Drew. He hits Drew with a super kick. He grabs a chair, but he gets intercepted by Drew. Drew's in the ring with a chair. Finn drop kicks the chair into Drew's face. Coup de grace. Finn wins the match. I'm going to give this one 2.5 stars out of 4. Like I said, great performance by both. I liked the intensity. I enjoyed the story. That being said, I haven't been really in love with this feud itself. It just seems kind of like, me. It just seems kind of like, to me. That's just me. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but I'm not really digging this for either guy. I hope that one or both of them get to sink their teeth into something a little bit bigger, a little more important after this feud dies down and goes into the Rumble and so forth. Up next, a chairs match as Rey Mysterio takes on SmackDown's resident sadist, Randy Orton. This is a really entertaining match. Lots of innovative car crash spots going on here. Awesome sliding splash. Rey's on the chair, slides out of the ring, splats onto Randy Orton on the outside. That was beautiful stuff. Rey jumps off the apron toward Orton, but Orton moves, so Rey lands right in his ass, crotchal region. Orton sets up a chair in the corner. Mysterio drives him into it, but he immediately kind of gets up and power slams Rey there. Orton swings Rey like a pendulum, like he throws him down face first onto the chair upside down a couple times. That was pretty cool to see. Orton sets up like a row of chairs and like teases the RKO onto it, but Rey's able to fight out of it, rolls up Orton in a very cool way to win the match in what I thought was a huge upset. I'm gonna give this one 3 stars out of 4. You know, it wasn't a terribly long match, but I was entertained throughout the entire thing from beginning to end, so I give them points for that. And also just the shock value of Orton losing. I didn't think Orton was gonna lose. I mean, whatever plan they had with Orton right now, I figured they were gonna keep doing what they're doing and have him winning here. So Rey winning was a bit of a surprise. Wonder where they're going to follow up with that in the weeks to come. But yeah, I was entertained. Ronda Rousey defends the Raw Women's title against Nia Jax in a rematch from Money in the Bank. Ronda with some very subdued makeup on this month. Good for her. Early on, Ronda tries to go for the armbar, but Nia powers out of it. Nia using her size and her strength to beat down Ronda. She goes for the armbar again. She gets thrown into the barricade, like baseball bat style. Ronda begins to outmaneuver Nia, though. Starts to outsmart her. Giant crossbody to the outside, which is really cool to see. We get a bit of an awkward roll through after another crossbody attempt into the Samoan drop, but Ronda kicks out of that. A top rope Samoan drop attempt, the move that she crushed Alexa Bliss with at WrestleMania to win the championship for the first time. Ronda counters into a sunset flip powerbomb. We get a kick out there. Ronda catches Nia in the armbar after her 3rd or 4th attempt, finally gets her to tap out. This was a really fun match. I give it 3 stars out of 4. Probably my favorite Ronda match of the year since WrestleMania. And I think her first match with Nia was a close second to that, were it not for the interference at the end with Alexa Bliss. But I think this had like the nice, conclusive finish that we didn't get at Money in the Bank. And so I think this was a really entertaining match. And I think Ronda showed her strength here. She didn't look bad and nobody got hurt, which is nice. So yeah, given the history between them and how they kind of came back to it at the end of the year after what we saw over the summer, very enjoyable stuff. And then backstage, Becky Lynch shows up and beats up Nia Jax for good measure. If we don't get a proper match between the two of them, like before WrestleMania, then I guess this is Nia getting her comeuppance for the time being. WWE Championship on the line as the new Daniel Bryan defends against AJ Styles in a rematch from the week before Survivor Series. The story here for the first half of the match is Daniel working on AJ's ribs. Like really for the first third or first half of this match, it's pretty much all Daniel Bryan until AJ hits what I'm sure Michael Cole would have called a wicked clothesline out of the corner, which sends Daniel doing a backflip. As AJ makes his comeback, but Daniel cuts him off again. He hits the yes kicks, or as David Otunga, who's filling in for Byron Saxton, he called them the liar kicks. Ooh, not good. This is why that Byron Saxton took your place, David. AJ counters a counter here. He goes for the phenomenal forearm, so he's in the air. Daniel goes for a kick. AJ lands on his feet and grabs Daniel's leg. So, oh man, it's like counterception going on here. So then he works on Daniel's leg for the majority of the match, and from there the story is like ribs versus leg. AJ's got Daniel in the half crab, and then Bryan turns it into the label lock. Now here it is, your moment of random strong style.
Oh, what a big kick! Styles with the Pele kick!
Styles has Daniel in the calf crusher, and Daniel is selling like a mofo. They go to the outside. AJ hits the phenomenal forearm off of the barricade. Styles gets Daniel in the small package back at the ring, but haha, Daniel Bryan is the master of the small package, so he reverses it with one of his own. He pins AJ to win and retain the championship after a very hard-fought contest. I give this one 4 stars out of 4. What a great match. I mean, the story really, what got me on the edge of my seat near the end was those leg submissions and how much Daniel sold it like death. Like I genuinely thought like he was going to tap out because the way he sold it made it looked so painful and so agonizing. That's the mark of great story there. Just the story they were telling the whole match was great. I was surprised that Daniel beat AJ clean. Like he didn't do anything to cheat to regain the advantage in that roll up or anything. It was just like, he beat him clean as a whistle. So like now what's AJ got? You know, what's he got left? If you know Daniel cheated to win the belt the first time, but he was totally clean and above board the entire match. I don't think he cheated once in the entire match here. So I'm curious to see what Daniel's next challenge will be as champion. Will it be AJ Styles again, or will a third person get involved, or maybe they'll bring Rusev back, who knows. After a backstage interview where Ronda Rousey says she has unfinished business with Charlotte Flair, we then go to the IC title match as Seth Rollins defends against Dean Ambrose. As he's making his way out, Dean that is, Michael Cole says that Dean claims to be the last man with any integrity in WWE. I'm like, hang on. Didn't we just have a match, literally before this one, with Daniel Bryan, whose gimmick is kind of the holier-than-thou gimmick? That's exactly what Dean is doing right now. Seeing those two matches back-to-back with those two characters, as the similarities that they have, I think was interesting stacking choice for organizing the show here. God, what are they even doing with commentary here? It's just become like the majority of this match, not even the first part of it, the majority of this match was just Graves and Renee Young. Like Graves like needling Renee Young about her relationship with Dean Ambrose, this and that. Like, again, very distracting. I get, it's hard to not talk about it because she is there and she's one of the voices of the show that her husband is on, has this prominent role. But man, sometimes it just got to the point where it's like, enough. I want to mute my television, or my computer in this case, as I'm watching this. Ambrose gets the advantage early on, taunts him for a while. As I was watching, I just noticed for the first time, how long has Dean Ambrose been wearing that chain around his neck when he wrestles? I like it. It's unique. It's a good look. Don't change it. Seth continues to do what he does best, which is to keep selling his knee while simultaneously doing all these big moves that make it worse. I believe we start getting a "this is boring" chant near the end of the match, which is unfortunate because I feel the fans were mistaking storytelling for the lack of something interesting. There was a lot of subtle nuance in the body language they were doing. There was a lot of points, admittedly, in this matchup where there's a lot of things where they're not doing moves per se, but there's a lot of like standing and staring and talking trash and stuff, and they're taking their time with it. And on the one hand, I get what the fans are saying when they chant boring, but I didn't see that. I mean, I was seeing they were trying to tell this dramatic story. I think the biggest issue was fatigue. I think we were like really long in the tooth of this show, and we wanted they were chanting for Becky at this point. Like they wanted to just get over with and get to see Becky Lynch again. So yeah, I think that's why they were chanting boring, because there were some lulls, but I think that was part of the storytelling. Dean wants to do the shield fist bump all of a sudden, and Seth has just had it with him at this point. He beats him up. He does the buckle bomb to Dean on the barricade. He brings him back in the ring and says, "This is for Roman Reigns, you piece of shit." They are busting out all the swears tonight, folks. Seth goes for the stomp, but Dean catches him, hits him with the dirty deeds, pins him, and Dean Ambrose is now the new Intercontinental Champion. I'm going to give this one 3 stars out of 4. It was tough. I was going between that and 2.5. I think I'm just trying to tune out what the crowd input is, and I'm just trying to focus on the story, because it was a very good story. What they did with the body language in between moves and spots in the ring, and then the finish playing into what Dean had been saying all along, was that Seth was going to slip up because he was going to let his emotions get the better of him, and that's exactly what happened. Like I said, I think the crowd, I don't blame the crowd for acting the way they did. I think if this match were put in the first half of the show instead of the last half, I think it would have been received better. I don't think the crowd would have turned on it like they did near the end of it. That being said, I think the match itself was a very good story. Main event time is a TLC match for the Smackdown Women's title as Becky Lynch defends against Asuka and Charlotte Flair. This match, for the first couple minutes, felt really wonky to me. I don't know if it's just me, but there seemed to be a feeling out process, and there were just some awkward moments for those first couple of minutes. I think the fans and the competitors, just want to get right into the high spots and just start going ape on each other with weapons. And that's what they did eventually. Becky with the first big bump of the night when Asuka slams her down back first onto the ladder on the floor, and then Asuka powerbombs Charlotte through a table in the corner. Charlotte's the first one to utilize a chair on Asuka. She does her crazy big old moonsault off the top to the outside and hits them in the arms really good. Lynch goes ham on her opponents with the steel chair. She gets Asuka and Charlotte both onto an announce table, climbs a ladder, does a diving ass drop. Asuka gets out of the way, but Charlotte takes all of it. So she takes all the ass, right here in the midsection. I was surprised that Charlotte just didn't vomit upon impact. That was the gnarliest bump that could have possibly taken. She just took all the weight of Becky Lynch right onto her midsection. That looked absolutely brutal. They're whipping the hell out of each other with kendo sticks later on. Charlotte with the OMG moment as she spears Asuka through the timekeeper's barricade, but it doesn't all the way collapse. So it just just hit this wall and it bends a bit. Oh god, that looks so brutal. Charlotte with a senton off the top rope onto Becky through a table on the floor. Good lord. Asuka and Charlotte, they start fighting on the top of the ladder. Becky starts to set up a ladder of her own on the side while they're fighting. So you got Charlotte and Becky fighting on top, and then all of a sudden everyone stands up and looks that way. It's Ronda Rousey, the Raw Women's Champion. What's she doing here? She's got beef with both these women. She shoves the ladder, and both of them fall off the top, and they powder out. So that's your WrestleMania main event right there, folks. Triple threat match. Asuka climbs the ladder. She brings down the belt, and after a pretty up and down year, she has now become the SmackDown Women's Champion. Some would say, I would say, several months too late. After a rough start, things got very entertaining, and it was consistently entertaining and very high impact and very fun to watch right up until the end. Asuka winning how she did, I think it was smart because it takes the heat off her. She's not going to get booed for doing that because she had no part in what Ronda Rousey did. So all the heat's on Ronda now, which makes her a huge heel, I would think, in theory. But I'm on the fence as to whether or not a win like that cheapens Asuka's reign. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments section, because I'm kind of on two minds about it. Because, like I said, it's not her fault that Ronda interfered, but she didn't win it because she was the one who toppled them. It's kind of one of those weird things about wrestling. But I think Asuka winning is good. I do think it's a little late, and you will see what I mean in this week's countdown. I'm not going to give too much away, but let me just say, there's a lot about Asuka this year I'm disappointed in. This was a small way to correct that, but I don't know. Anyway, that's what I thought. Very, very entertaining main event. I thought all three women delivered, and it was very good stuff. I'm going to say there were a few matches on this card that did not need to be there at all. This show did not need to have 12 matches, if you include the pre-show stuff. It got a little long after a while. But after a so-so beginning, we saw a lot of entertaining stuff that, did a good job setting the pace for the Rumble, as well as had a lot of stuff into WrestleMania season. I pretty much there are a few matches on the show that I that I didn't like, that I hated. There's nothing I hated about this show, but there was a lot that I did enjoy, like the tag title matches. SmackDown tag title match was great. Strowman versus Corbin, as much of a non-match it really was, it was still kind of entertaining. The tables match was a lot of fun. Chairs match, very entertaining with Ray pulling out all the stops. Rousey versus Jax, like I said, easily the best Ronda Rousey match since WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan and Styles, excellent match, loved it. And the SmackDown Women's Championship TLC match was very entertaining for like the last 3/4, last 7/8 of the match, I should say. So yeah, overall a very strong show and probably one of the better B pay-per-views of the year. And I'll admit, actually has me genuinely interested with what the hell's going to happen on Raw Monday. Let me know what you thought about TLC in the comments section below and give it a letter grade in the gimmick in the upper right hand corner of your screen. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you like it, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, buy the t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com, and check out Patreon.com/WrestlingWithRegret for exclusive perks and bonus content. I'm Bryan Zane, and I'll see you next time.